Yo, the way my bed's never done for these videos is crazy, and that's never gonna change. Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Real here, and today we're making a type beat today. I'm finna show y'all how I flip one of my songs into a jerk.
You're a jerk. I know.
Type beat. I don't know. I got bored one day. I just felt like flipping one of my songs into a type beat. So I'm gonna just show y'all how I like chopped it up, put the drums, all that stuff, mixing all that stuff, all that. But yeah, y'all, if at any time y'all, damn. But yeah, if at any time y'all enjoy, hit that like, comment, subscribe, even share it around. We're the big 811 subs at the time of recording this, y'all. Once again, appreciate y'all all so much for the love. Comment down below what we should make next type stuff. I got ideas, but I appreciate whatever type of input y'all got. And yeah, with that said, let's just get into the main video. I'll catch y'all. Yo, what's up? I have to do a voiceover for the beginning because my camera was having issues in the original footage, but I wanted to mention the chords from the original song, IDK Heartbreak. More so the second part specifically, since that's what we're going to be sampling. But yeah, on the second part of IDK Heartbreak, the chords being played throughout the beat are an F minor triad and a B flat minor triad, meaning that we're in the key of F minor with a minor 1, minor 4 chord progression. And these chords won't be a major staple to the jerk beat, as our new beat will be in a different key. But I'm still going to be using the entire frequency range / full spectral range of the original song, meaning I'm keeping all the elements like the melody, drums, vocals, so the video can be seen in the same way that you go about downloading a song off of YouTube so that you can sample it. I'm just going to be using EQ to carve out parts of the beat that I don't want and keeping parts of the beat that I want to exaggerate more in the original after I find a part of the beat that a part of the song that I want to loop and chop. Last thing I want to mention before we go into the actual jerk beat is just the difference between resampling mode and stretch mode. They're two modes that I've loosely covered before on the channel, but I wanted to go into more detail here. So these are two super important modes for whenever you're going to sample something, so it's nice to understand them so you get the exact feel that you're looking for. But whenever you drag in an audio file into FL Studio, whether in the playlist as an audio file or as an unsorted audio file, which most of us producers refer to them as one shots, the audio file will automatically be set to the mode resample when you open it up in FL Studio. An audio file in resample mode will have its speed or tempo being how fast the beats of our audio run per minute, and pitch being the range of how high and low it plays. Both change whenever you adjust the time knob and modify the project tempo. For this beat, the original sample is at 104 BPM, so in FL Studio we're going to open up the audio file by double clicking it on the playlist. We're just going to right click the circular knob with the word time below it, and we're going to click on auto detect and set the BPM to the sample's original tempo. So now we've told FL Studio that the appropriate tempo for our beat is 104, so it can adjust the tempo of the sample to accurately match the project tempo. When your beat is in the default mode resample, it'll change pitch whenever you have a project tempo that is different from the original. In our jerk beat, the tempo is 168 BPM, so when we play our resampled 104 BPM song at this tempo, the sample will sound faster and higher pitched, but if we slow down the tempo below 104, it'll make the sample sound slower and lower in pitch, while keeping the project tempo at 104 while play the original sample. If we change our samples mode to stretch, the sample will now stay the same pitch regardless of the project tempo. The only effect the project tempo will have on the audio will simply just be how fast the sample plays. To change the pitch of the sample while in stretch mode, you can double click the audio file in the playlist once again and change the pitch knob to however many cents up or down you want to have it, so you have a proper idea of exactly how many cents transpose your current sample is from the original, to avoid issues like notes not sounding properly in tune due to detuning from the resample mode. In this video though, we're going to be using both modes in different parts of the beat. But yeah, with that said, y'all, let's get into the main thing. Alright, so as I mentioned earlier, they're in two different keys, the original song and the jerk beat. So in the beginning, I have this set to stretch. I chose the part of the beat that I wanted. So the original song is at 104 BPM. I set the project tempo here to 168. So to make sure it perfectly fit on grid, I went to time knob when I double clicked it on the audio playlist. Right clicked it, I clicked auto detect, typed in BPM, typed in 104, and that will, for this song at least, set it properly to the project playlist. So for example, if I took this off, you'll see that it does not align properly on the playlist. It's all over the place. Whenever I hit an auto detect, type in BPM 104, puts it right back where it's supposed to be. It fits right on grid. That's how I had it chopped up before too. Besides that, I'll show you which part of the song I chose to take and loop over for most of the song, at least I later on chop it up, or we'll get into that later. For the effects, we got some EQ, we got high pass going up to 185 hertz, we got some low pass just taking out an extra bit of the air. I also sucked a lot at mixing back then, so things I also did is I took off a lot of the presence by 10 decibels. I wasn't sure if anyone would even hop on this, but I just made sure to take all that stuff out. As for the reverb settings, I just brought up a little bit of the wet, brought some what the fuck? Brought down some dry, played with the low cut. The high cut is like messed around with a little bit, and decay, I brought that down to 1 second from the original 1.5. Then right over here we got D blue tape stop. So what I chose to do is I automated this. So initially I have this I'm gonna delete the initial value. I had the mix all the way up, you know, this is how FL does everything. I turned the mix all the way down, right clicked it, and it saw with this position. Then right here specifically, I made an automation clip. Just had this part right clicked and selected, had the automation clip had the mix all the way up, and then I right clicked it, create automation clip. That's how I just did that right there. Then right over here I had the mix all the way down, of course did the exact same thing. Reason being, I swear with this VST, whenever you have the automation clip, like not automation clip, the mix level all the way up, and you just move around through the beat, I swear it makes a clicking sound. I don't know why it doesn't play when I want to like actually show the example of it. But yeah, the clicking sound might be annoying me, so I just automated it whenever I needed to have it on. But yeah, you know, I just had the little tape stop thing. I adjusted the settings slightly, adjusted it slightly. The trigger gets automated through this clip right over here. So yeah, whenever this half of it plays, it, you know, just works as a tape stop would. You know, it just dips down in speed as well as in pitch, so that's what it sounds like. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. As for the part we are looping, I chopped this up really weird when I was making it, but the part that we're looping is quite literally just this right here. What the fuck do you think you are? You're too good to run away, too good to run away. Where do you go? I don't know. And then yeah, that literally just goes back and forth over and over again. So yeah, I mean that's quite literally the very beginning. I'm just gonna play this section in the very beginning for y'all. What the fuck do you think you are? You're too good to run away, too good to run away. Where do you go? I don't know. What the fuck do you think you are? You're too good to run away, too good to run away. Where do you go? I don't know. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. But yeah, moving on to the next section. So as I mentioned before, resample versus stretch mode. So this first half of the original song, since it's the same pitch, this half right here is in F minor still. Whenever I have everything set to resample and all that, it pitched it up. Whenever I got the key for this online, or if you tap the plugin, you could use auto key on your master. I got that this section over here was in F sharp minor. So yeah, we're just moving up like one semitone. So yeah, the new section over here sounds like this. We're on a different mixer track. So settings are the exact same. We got this same EQ. We're turning the mix down in certain moments, like right there it's down, right here it's like all the way back up. So yeah, right here there's a lot more present frequencies, all the way over here there's not as many. And yeah, that reverb stays there as well. Only thing that's not here is we got rid of the tape stop because I don't need to use it for the effect. This is really just to help like transition into the actual like main beat. But yeah, this is what the new section of it right here sounds like, just with the higher pitch. What the fuck you think you are? You're too good to run away, too good to run away. Where do you go? I don't know. So yeah, that's what that sounds like now. All we really have to get into besides that is just all the chop parts of the samples right here, you know, arrangement and like all the different patterns. So yeah, going into the melodic parts of pattern 2, we are in a Zenology. We got the JX Polysaw. So opening this up, what I chose to do, I just like listened for notes that I thought sounded nice in here, and these bottom notes all fit into F sharp minor. So I have E, F sharp, C sharp, and D all as the root notes right over here. So just all the green notes you can focus on. And I tried building out like fifth chords. I tried building out like full major or minor chords, and I always felt like the triads were super powerful, or even like the dyad whenever I had those power chords. So what I did is I just put in like a major and a minor third, and then I kind of like just flipped it in the same way backwards. And yeah, the cool part too is we get to keep these notes in common and move it over to the next 2 bars. We're just using different notes to, you know, put more of an interesting feel into the actual beat instead of just repeating, you know, like the first 2 notes. So yeah, now that I'm done yapping about the Polysaw right there with those notes, for the effects, I have some gross beat. So I have the mix level on 90%, Inside of Gross Beat, I basically almost always use this when I use Gross Beat. I need to open up my horizons when I use Gross Beat. I guess like expand like my creativity with it. But what I do is I go to presets, I click in momentary, and I usually go to one of these gates. So I went to the half beat gate right here. I played with the attack and release just a little bit, and that's all I did there. This is what it sounds like for the poly saw with Gross Beat on for these chords. Besides that, everything else is just drums for the rest of the beat. Don't know why I have this kick in here. Just ignore that literally for the whole beat. It's not important. But yeah, right over here we have the Capital drum kit, Summer Servita, like snare right here. We have, for what I believe, yeah, no effects besides reverb on here. I just wanted like the tail to last a little bit longer. So dry, I pushed down to 95%, and then I brought the wet level up to 67%. Everything besides, I'm assuming the low kit stayed the exact same. Obviously y'all saw the settings, I'm just kind of pointing out the numbers and stuff. But yeah, this is what the gut shot sound effect for the snare is like right over here. Yeah, that one was loud. Moving on though, so over here we got some bed squeaks. So I got like this sample. So what I chose to do, originally the sample is this long. I just chose to mess with the sample start and the length so I could isolate each sound. So this is the first bed squeak that we got here, and then this is the second bed squeak right over here. I just moved the sample start in this one. So yeah, if we only had the first one, this is what it would sound like. Hitting on every first beat that's there, and then this hits on all the ends. So this is what the second bed squeak sounds like, and together I kind of like use it in place of a hi-hat, not entirely, just like an extra sound. I think it's still a cool sound regardless. But yeah, this is what the bed squeaks sound like together. But yeah, that's the bed squeak sound effect that we got right there. So right over here we got the penis snare. But yeah, we basically have this doing like our kick pattern, you know, like our kick pattern for a jerk beat, you know, just snare pattern, the main thing. That's literally about it. There's like no effects on this. There are also no effects on the bed squeak, but yeah, this is what it sounds like by itself. Got that right there. Right after that we have another jerk snare. This is just to kind of help like accent for the other snare that's being played. No effects. This is what it sounds like. And that's all to be said. Right over here we got a hi-hat pattern. Not a whole lot of jerk beats have hi-hats. I feel like they normally get in the way, but here I thought it sounded good. I'm not gonna lie. So I started off with a one step. So I right clicked right over here, advanced fill, interval all the way down to 1, and I just chose to add rolls wherever I felt like it sounded good. And yeah, that's quite literally about it. I just played around with the hi-hats for where and what I thought sounded good. That's why it looks like it's all over the place. But yeah, besides that, this is quite literally what the hi-hats sound like all by themselves. I think that might be like one of my first few hi-hat patterns where I played it all the way through and there's like variation the whole time through. Kind of the hi-hat guy. I'm finna roll that clip, you already know.
He like a hi-hat guy, kind of.
Going on, so next thing that we got here, I'm gonna skip over the 808 and go straight to the A sound effect here. So yeah, every single time that you hear this on B2, this is what it sounds like by itself. So next thing that we got right here, and the final thing for this pattern, so we got the Luger 808. I have the boost up to 5%. I have it clipping in here. I used to clip inside of here a little bit, and I have the hold all the way up. Next thing I did was I put some soft clipper on the 808 itself. Don't think it's even doing too much because I already have the audio file clipping. But yeah, that was just me at the time. I don't know. But yeah, besides that, what we're doing, we're basically just playing each root note. So we're going from E, moving up the half step, to F sharp, another half step, and every now and again we're just going down to B. I just thought it sounded cool. But yeah, this is what the 808 pattern sounds like all by itself. So yeah, that's what the 808 sounds like. I will play y'all just all the drums together. I'll add in the melodic part, being the poly saw. Then I'll put in the sample of, you know, IDK Heartbreak. So yeah, here's what we got. that's what it all sounds like together. Sounds dope. Moving on to the next section though. So right over here, we're just gonna go straight over the sample. So we're just gonna focus on these 4 bars because that's all that repeats. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. I also chose to keep the declicking mode on transient. A lot of times whenever you're sampling stuff, you're gonna want to have it on generic bleeding. That just makes it fade out a little bit nicer than with transient no bleeding. I thought it sounded nicer in this context to have it like quite literally cut off immediately. That's just personal preference. For like 99% of the time, I would say you're gonna want generic bleeding. This is one of those few cases where I just thought having like a transient no bleeding sounded better. So yeah, another thing to also mention, this is that part of the beat too where I actually have the automation for mix level 2 up. So the presence is knocked down by 10 decibels. So this is what it sounds like right here. So next thing to go over is the drums again. So right over here on pattern 5, our only difference really, we're taking out like the bed squeak, and then the 808 pattern just changes subtly enough. So we're just gonna go over that. So right here for the 808 pattern, all we're doing is just making it a lot more simple. You know, just another change up besides the sample to clearly indicate we're in a different section of the beat. So yeah, we got that. So I will play the drums all together, and then with the poly saw, then I'll add in the vocal sample for y'all. So yeah, that's what that sounds like. Moving on. So only differences on pattern number 3 is the hi-hat, poly saw, and the 808. So yeah, we got some decent differences. Also, we're getting rid of like the jerk, like penis snare as well. Wait, yo, that sounded crazy. No, oh my gosh. Wait, so we're getting rid of like the jerk snares. Yo, oh my gosh, no way I just said that, bro. We're keeping the hi-hat and the gut shot snare and the poly saw, the 808, and the A sound effect. The poly saw moves an octave up. So right over here it's an octave lower. On pattern number 3 it's an octave up. So yeah, I'm just gonna play what the poly saw sounds like for y'all, because you know it's the same thing as we're hitting just control and up arrow on our keyboard. So this is what it sounds like. So that's what we got there. Going towards the 808 next because it's way less complex than what we're gonna do with the hi-hats. So we're adding a few more hits in. So we are cutting this, so there's 2 hits right there. And then as for the E right here, we are going to be chopping that up, so we have another hit right over there. So this is what that 808 pattern sounds like. Where is it? This is what the 808 pattern sounds like by itself. Last thing is a hi-hat. Yeah, the hi-hats, once again, I just changed them to what I felt like. Have my rolls in slightly different places, and we have this last long roll at the end. I brought it down by a lot of notes, and then I brought the velocity down here, y'all can see as well. So we just bring the volume down. This is what that hi-hat pattern sounds like by itself, guys. Besides that, obviously, as I said, it was just all really arrangement. Yeah, right over here, pattern 4 is the last thing that we have. So we're just copy and pasting everything above pattern 3 right here over. Right here, only difference is we're getting rid of the hi-hat. That's it. And yeah, to end off the beat, I just chose to keep the, you know, resampled part, the higher up part, and I just chose to have it fade out to the ending right here on these last 2 beats. So yeah, this is what the ending sounds like right here. Just gonna play it from the last 4 bars. So what's up, y'all? It's your boy again. I don't got my light set up, and y'all know I'm a dark skin, so I look like I'm telling y'all a campfire song or some shit. But hey, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Hope y'all picked something up from it, whether it was just, you know, just vibing to the video or just learn how to make a jerk beat within itself, making a sample type beat. Hopefully you got educated. But yeah, with that said, if so, leave a like, comment down below, comment what we should make next, hit the big subscribe button as well. But yeah, I'll catch y'all on the next one. Fuck with the 2 videos on the side as well. YouTube wants you to check it out. But yeah, peace.